New on Curiosity Stream.
I'm James Burke. I'm going to take you on a journey through time.
James Burke's visionary series returns, reimagined for our time.
Now, this is all uncharted territory.
The Washington Post hails Burke as one of the most intriguing minds in the Western world. The New York Times raves he careens from one great moment in history to another.
Where do we want to go from here?
Experience all new connections.
So what's the next connection?
With monthly, annual, and bundled plans, find the one that works for you at curiositystream.com.
Did you miss your deadline to renew your Medicaid coverage? You can still send your completed annual review form to Healthy Connections Medicaid. You may be assigned to another health plan, but you can ask to come back to First Choice within 60 days of renewed Medicaid eligibility. It's your family. It's your choice. First Choice is the right choice. Renew and choose us. Visit selecthealthofsc.com/renew to learn more.
The pop culture field manual. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Pop Culture Field Manual podcast, sitting right at the intersection of weapons, the action, the militaries, and the pop cultures, the multiple
all
pop cultures.
Plural.
Yeah, there are many cultures around the world. We don't want to discriminate, do we?
No, not at all.
No.
We're not like that.
Folks, it's good to be back with you, team. Thanks for listening in. We release a new episode every Wednesday, and we also have the Pop Culture Field Manual podcast on YouTube as well. If you want to see visual versions of the podcast with extra stuff that you don't get in the audio versions, which you can find on Spotify, Apple Music, or wherever you tune into podcasts.
Hello.
Yeah, folks, those episodes usually come out the Friday following the episode that comes out. Send us, make sure to subscribe on the channel. Send us some love and an email, pcfmpodcast@gmail.com. If you want to hang out with me, you can go to twitch.tv/myhappyself. I forgot to mention also that we're on Instagram, but it's PCFM Podcast on Instagram.
Yes.
I like how I go down and then I come back up. And if you want to hang out with Cameroon.
Yeah, if you guys want to hang out with myself, check me out on Instagram at Cameron C. Fath, or go hit up my streetwear brand, Kit God Apparel. That's KITGOD Apparel on our website or on Instagram. And also, this podcast is brought to you by absolutely no one. We are in the market.
We're in the hunt, folks.
We are in the hunt for a sponsor. So if you are interested in sponsoring this podcast, be sure to send us an email to popculturefieldmanualpodcast@gmail.com.
That's right.
This is the greatest podcast in the world.
No stupid deals, guys.
No stupid
Come
deals.
on. We're not a bunch of yahoos out here. Not just a bunch of country bumpkins, all right? I mean, we are country bumpkins.
We are high class.
We live in American country, which means we like capitalism.
We love capitalism. Speaking of capitalism, if you want to donate
that's right.
to this podcast, make sure you guys check us out on Buy Me a Coffee. All of your donations are going right back into the podcast to make it even better than it was last week. And we want to say a special thank you to all of the folks that have donated so far.
Thank you very much, folks.
It's greatly appreciated.
Yeah.
And you guys are making this super fun to make, and you're making the podcast experience even better for yourselves.
Yeah. You're paying for Amy's cough medicine.
Yes. She's sick. But anyways, enough of the plugs. I'm sure you're tired of it. You're driving and you just want to get to
You're
there it is.
You're going to get to the nitty gritty, man.
Let's get to the nitty gritty. Israel, tell us what we're talking about today.
Today, folks, we're talking about prisoners of war. We're taking a deep dive into the POW experience, if you will. It's got to rank among the top, at least the top 3 of things that you never want to have happen to you.
Absolutely.
You're fighting
kind of a serious topic in like a way, like terrible experience.
Oh my gosh, terrible experience. Yeah, no, it's so many, and that's why we're talking about it a little bit today, because there have been so many stories that have been told. Just the completely inhumane treatment, the horrific treatment, and years in
years of
man.
it. I could not imagine, man. It's like this type of subject is, how many POW comedies have you seen?
We talk about 1 or 2, but not many. There's Hogan's Heroes and Stalag 17.
Of course.
Those were like comedic takes on the whole POW situation. But like,
I guess you can make fun of anything nowadays.
Well, that's the thing, is there's different levels of captivity. Like there's in SEER school, this is one thing I can relate. In SEER school, which is the survival, evasion, resistance, and escape, it's the survival school that you take in the special operations or the Green Beret Q course.
Yeah, don't rub it in.
But many, what?
I said, yeah, don't rub it in.
Yeah, I'm just saying,
I didn't
it's really cool. No, it's one of a
go.
kind experience. No big deal.
Rangers get to go.
Do they?
Yeah, it's just not in the pipeline.
Okay.
Like we can put in.
You got to request it.
Yeah,
okay.
it's a regular school, but it's kind of like airborne. So,
it's like built into the mix for me.
It's in your pipeline. Okay, yeah. So just like Airborne's in our pipeline, like SEER is in your pipeline, but we can still attend just later on after we get to regiment.
And multiple branches have either their own SEER school or they a lot of different jobs. Like, PJs, rescue pilots have to go through it.
AFSOC.
Yeah, exactly.
Most of the guys in AFSOC. And then, all the dudes in aviation, whether you're like, if you're any aviation job in the Army, you have to go through SEER.
Yeah, in fact, they even have in the Air Force, we talked about it on a previous episode of like spec ops jobs.
They have an entire SEER.
They have an entire school if you want to be a SEER instructor in the Air Force, which I thought was really interesting.
Very cool.
But, as I burp out my lunch, so yeah, man, it's a crazy time, and one thing in SEER school that they talk about is the conventional and the unconventional situation. Like conventional would be like much of what we're talking about today, like World War II. Yeah, there's like Geneva Conventions. There's like rules that the opposition is supposed to follow when like handling their prisoners, which of course they never do. But
and but it's unconventional when like you're captured in the Amazon by some narcos. And
or like Afghanistan or Iraq. Like you know, you and I have probably
by non-military forces, like straight up bad people.
You're just out and they just find you. You don't know what's going to happen. They don't follow any rules.
Just some bad dudes.
Yeah, just some
doing some bad things.
Yeah, Islamic terrorists or whatever. Like you don't know what they could make a video with you. Which you don't want to have happen. But anyway, so a lot of different situations for the POW. It's this kind of interesting phenomenon. One thing I noticed though is with all of the suggestions that we have on the episode today, they're all kind of centered around World War II and Vietnam. Like, I'm having a hard time thinking about like modern day. I know there was a situation now that I'm thinking about it. I'm not going to be very particular, but there was a bunch of like a crew for North Korea, like that flew kind of in North Korean territory and they got taken down. American crew.
I had no idea.
And they released pictures of them and like, and they eventually kind of did like an exchange and stuff. But that would have been, I guess we're not technically at war with North Korea, even though we totally are. We're just not saying that we are, interesting kind of like that all of our stuff today or most of our stuff today comes from those two eras, World War II and Vietnam. Because I guess maybe those are the ones why do you think that is? You think they've just been popularized?
I think my
stories came out of there. Or?
Yeah, there's a lot of, there's a lot of stories that came out of World War II that we know. I mean, in specific battlefields that we're operating in, I would think a POW would be kind of an OPSEC thing. Modern day rescues, you can think of like the Jessica Lynch rescue.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that 1st Ranger Battalion Lynch, did. She was a POW who's rescued from Iraqi hospital. If you want to read about that, literally just Google Jessica Lynch rescue. And that was in Iraq in 2003. Yeah. So, but you have modern day stuff like that. But Iraq was even an old school, because we went to Iraq to Afghanistan. But I think it's just more popular because there's more stories that come out. I'm sure there's a lot of POW stories that happened in, the GWAT.
Yeah.
But I haven't came out like fully yet.
Maybe we'll hear about them as they come out. I know they use it's not exactly the subject of the show, but the first, second, I think, and third season, or the first season very much so of Claire Danes. What's his name? The guy comes back from Afghanistan, and then he's like a Muslim, and you don't know if he's a terrorist or not.
What? What are you talking about?
It's a Showtime show. You guys are yelling at your radios. Homeland.
Really?
Homeland. Yeah, Homeland. Okay. That's the conceit of the pilot, is that she gets information that an American service member has been turned, basically. And he just gets released in a prisoner exchange or whatever after being like gone for like 8 years. So he comes back and like his wife is remarried to like his best friend and they have kids together. And so there's all this trauma. But then you find out, it reveals kind of as the first season, at least. I haven't watched it all. But as it comes out, like he's definitely a Muslim. Then you think, oh my gosh, he's got to be a terrorist. But then he like has an explanation for like why he did that. Like he was compassionate towards me, like his captor, like that was how he found peace and stuff. And then he does something else that's suspicious. You're like, he's totally a terrorist. And then she's like, no, there's a reason for that. And you know, and so it kind of goes. And I think he's
just a terrorist.
Yeah, his character arc, or him going back and forth with Claire Danes, who's like a CIA agent. That's like the first, I think, 3 or 4 seasons, and then he dies and something else happens. And so you can't keep threading that out.
Yeah. Do you know any POWs?
Man, no. I remember after SEER school, and when we do there's a day or two of debriefing, they had some Korean POWs.
Oh, really?
That came and spoke to us about their experiences and stuff like that. And
That's interesting.
yeah,
I had no idea that they did that.
yeah, it was kind of like a little like a treat, like
I guess a treat.
Hey, talk to some real POWs,
POWs.
not this like week-long thing that you did where we're all pretending, even though it sucked.
Yeah,
Doesn't suck as much as actually being captured by an enemy force.
I knew one POW. He was a. I guess he was. When I was deployed, he was kind of the guy that you just gave a radio to. He wasn't American.
You talked about this guy
Have
before.
I before?
Because you said that he got captured.
Yeah, he got captured by ISIS and he got captured by al-Assad. Like he got captured like 3 times and like
my god.
And they must have beat him like, special.
Silly,
like beat like him to a pulp because I mean he was a funny guy, but like
not something
he was not on purpose though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no. I'm pretty sure the radio they gave him. Yeah, he was a quote unquote funny guy.
Yeah. Scare quotes for all you listeners out there.
Yeah, but no, he got captured so many times apparently, and like he was a small. He must have been like 5'2", like 100 pounds, small guy, and he was. Yeah, it was sad, but he was funny. He actually.
We know what they do to them over the Middle
East. Oh
yeah.
yeah. He was. I'm pretty sure the radio they let him. Like carry was just broken.
Just not.
It just didn't work, so we just yell at nobody over it.
He's on a wavelength all his own. At that point.
So I mean, that's kind of crazy.
What would you do, Cameron? Like
in a POW situation?
Let me ask you this: what era? They ask you like, what era would you like to have fought in? What era would you like to and least like to have been captured in? Like,
I don't know, man. Everything's terrible.
I would not want it
because it's not a conventional force.
No, and in SEER school they showed us videos of like just like American dudes, contractor dudes, like. Heads getting cut off.
Yeah, like that's terrible.
Just because they wanted to.
Yeah, there's no rules. They're not following the rules.
Yeah, you got to be so careful in those opening moments if you're in a situation where you get captured to like try to prolong your own life and get them to capture you instead of just blow you away.
Yeah, it's very serious.
Yeah, we're going like dark.
Yeah, it's dark. No, I mean thinking about it because I definitely not want to be GWAT because I mean I've seen enough movies to where they like get them addicted to opioids and fucking
really?
Inject them with heroin and stuff
on purpose, like against their will.
Yeah, like there was this one movie I forgot what it's called, but this like POW, they're like Marine sniper team and they get captured and like they just they start injecting them with heroin and like get them addicted to heroin and I'm pretty sure like they get like AIDS from it because of the needles they're using and like his partner dies and like he comes home and he ends up being homeless and he's like got massive PTSD and he's addicted to heroin. Like, you know what movie I'm talking about, I watched it.
A recent one?
Yeah, I think it's like a B film, like straight to DVD, to like Netflix type of thing.
Yeah, dude.
It's a really sad
That's
one.
heavy duty. Man.
It's super sad. But anyway.
That's like a military version of like what was that drug movie that's like really super depressing? With Jared Leto and he gets his arms amputated at the end of the movie. Yeah, it's like this really, it's like Requiem for a Dream. Jennifer, what's her name is in it? And so sad. It's just Jennifer Connelly. There you go, Amy. Thanks. Yeah. Magic voice, Amy.
Magic voice, Amy.
Now we have magic voice, Chris. Chris is not going to be here today. He's had something out there in the land of Texas, but we'll get him on the next one. So.
We'll get him.
I mean, we do have a mic, so I should probably use it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. People like it. We got some comments like, "Oh, that lady's great. You should let her talk and give her own podcast." I'm like, "What? No, shut up."
Yeah, take it easy. She's not allowed to speak.
So yes, Requiem for a Dream and Jennifer Connelly.
That being said, let's talk about our list.
Yeah, we got a list here.
Half an hour later. This is what happens when Chris goes away, is we go off the rails.
Yeah, he can't keep us on topic, which is perfectly okay.
No, it's fine. I mean, I feel like if you're listening, if you're listening and you haven't turned it off yet, or if you've been listening for any amount of time, it's like we're all hanging out. You kind of like what we do here.
I guess. Yeah, you're just part of the crew.
We're just
like, hey, sit on the couch.
Yeah.
Hey, man, take a load off.
Yeah. Don't go into work just yet. Give me a couple more minutes on your radio, in your car, in your podcast before you jump in, go to work. Yeah. Or if you're at work, thank you for doing your job. Please stay focused on that machinery. Okay, don't let anybody else get hurt today. Okay?
Yeah, it's really funny. Did you read that email by that one dude? I forgot. I'm sorry, I forgot your name. But
I know a lot of people.
He's
listen
like,
while they're at work.
He's like, every time you mention you're in your car, I start laughing because I'm not in my car, but I'm a mechanic and I'm working
under
on
the
a car.
Yeah. We got
so
you, mechanics.
Shout out to you, sir.
In and around all sorts of vehicles.
This podcast is strictly auto.
Now let's talk about. Actually, let's talk about the one that you have seen, because I've seen most of these, and Actually, why don't we talk
A
about
lot of these are old school.
Yeah, old
A lot
school,
of these
so-
are like 19, anywhere from 50s to the
Okay.
90s. But there's a couple ones that I just want to knock out real quick.
Yeah, do it.
Because I'm millennial and I haven't seen a lot of these. So we'll talk about Rescue Dawn with
Rescue Dawn.
Christian Bale
Rescue
first.
Dawn. Great.
And it's based on a true story of a German-American pilot. It was shot down and captured by villagers sympathetic to Pathet Lao during American military campaign in Vietnam War.
True story too. Dieter Dangler.
Yeah, no, I've seen this movie. It's it definitely gives you like Unbroken vibes, but because Pacific Theater, but this one's during Vietnam. Is it Vietnam? Yeah, this one's
Werner
during,
Herzog too. So it's not a conventional movie experience.
Yeah, no, he doesn't stick to the rules.
Yeah.
But I think it's a really good POW movie, and like they only eat rice the entire time. Like they just eat rice.
Handful of rice.
And Christian Bale. I know we were talking about this before we even started.
Yeah.
But this dude, my God, he must be a vampire.
Dedicated to his craft, man.
Absolutely. Like, I mean, this dude has lost and gained weight. Like, if it was a sport, he would be an Olympian.
Yeah.
Like, the Machinist, he got down to like 90 pounds.
Right.
And it was just skin and bone.
And then I don't know if he did it just before or just after, but Batman, and he had to gain all this muscle.
All the muscle
afterwards.
back. And
Do you
then
think
in
that
this
that's
movie,
what caused his little blow up back in the day.
Oh,
the
his
set
little
of
pissy
Salvation,
fit?
Terminator Salvation. Yeah.
Maybe.
He's
just really
all
angry.
Up on, he's like he's hangry. He's like
he's
so
hangry.
hungry.
Yeah. But this one, he
heavy
starts out like decent size. And then throughout the movie, he just loses a bunch of weight because he's literally a POW for a long time.
Yeah.
I don't remember the exact amount of time he's stuck in that camp.
I think
but
it was. No, I'm thinking of Unbroken. That was 2 years. That's a good question. What I like about this is when he gets captured, they do something with him that they did to us in SEER School, which is right in the very beginning when they're kind of, you do like a prisoner exchange for us where we get transferred from an unconventional situation to a conventional situation, which is like the kind of prisoner of war camp, and they get in there and they tell you got to sign this thing, really quick. And what you're not supposed to do is you're not supposed to sign anything. And in the movie, when he gets captured and they first bring him in there to like the office of the head dude, he's like, you have to sign this thing. And he's like, and we will send you home. And he's like, no, I will not sign. I cannot sign. I will not sign. And he's like, are you sure? He's like, we're going to send you home right now. You just have to sign this thing. He's like, no, I'm not going to sign anything. Because it's like, you confess to like war crimes.
So they can kill you and stuff, right?
Yeah, for propaganda and all that kind of stuff. So you never signed. I signed it. I was like, oh
God, you
I felt
are
like so bad.
weak.
I know. I was a weak-willed. I did pretty good in other parts, but that was the part that I failed. And so I signed the thing.
Yeah. Damn, man.
I'm a follower, not a leader.
Come on.
I'm not an independent thinker. I need people to tell me what to do.
Yeah, but I mean, put yourself in the situation to where like you're super hungry, like the soul's been beat out. I mean, a lot of this movie is them just breaking these dudes.
Yeah, man.
Like them taking away their will to like, be like want to go on.
And isn't there a thing, I can't remember the movie that clearly, but there isn't one of the dudes, don't they like start kind of turning on each other? Like the prisoners?
So I think.
And one dude like wants to like gain favor with the captors. And so I forget.
Or like
you guys
kind of
let
like a
us know.
Stockholm syndrome
Yeah,
kind of thing.
And because it's like, dude, captivity will do crazy things to you, man. It's why people
I'm
like,
sure.
John McCain and other people like that come back that still lead normal lives. My hat's off to them because like, dude, it's just if you think evil doesn't exist, if you think about man's inhumanity to man,
You're wrong.
Like if you got this kind of rose-colored view of the world, it's not true, man.
It's
man,
very
there's some
black.
evil people out there.
Yeah, there's
man.
very dark,
Darkness.
gross people out
And if
there.
you can come back from that,
Yeah.
then it's pretty amazing. 'Cause-
I'm sure. Plus, it'll give you a new perspective.
Yeah, man.
And,
Hopefully a new appreciation for life.
Absolutely. But I mean, just kind of finishing up this one, but which I think is with a thought that I think is kind of important. But like once you escape, then what? That's what one thing this movie like really highlights, I think, is because when they escape, it's like, well, they don't know where they are.
Yep.
Like they don't know like if they're heading towards like
Deeper into enemy lines or out of
so
enemy
not only
lines,
are you like now escaping captor, which you just signed your death note, but you also have to survive the elements and survive the wilderness, and they're in Vietnam, so like
it's
jungle, there's jungle and there's
insects,
animals,
snakes,
insects,
all kind of,
everything can kill you,
dude.
And like it's just added. It's like, okay, well I get why a lot of these dudes stay put, because it's like it's risk versus reward,
right?
But man,
that's what I love about that part of the movie where the training that you do undergo, that kind of training, like in SEER school and like pilots and stuff, they have that kind of training. Like when he gets when he runs out and the helicopter picks him up and they have like the bona fides and stuff. Like that's what Rescue Dawn is. That's the title of the movie. It's a call and response. They say something like, what's your kind of code word to know that we know that it's really you and you're the guy we're looking for. And his code word in the movie is Rescue Dawn.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And so
I don't remember
you want
that.
to go that stuff. You're supposed to memorize it. Like if you ever get captured and stuff.
Yeah, you have a very specific set of words that like you ask for that are super random. And like if you say them, they know that something's wrong.
That's you. Or for this mission set, I think they can rotate too during different theaters and different time
Did
periods.
they let you pick yours?
No, ours were given to us.
Really? They let us pick ours.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It was. I'm not going to get into it because I don't. I know exactly what mine was too. But
by the way, bona fides for those that don't know, I don't know the exact definition, but bona fides is like to bona fide. Like to make it's like the things that you tell each other like to verify things. Yeah,
bona fide sounds for it's genuine, real,
genuine bona fides. Yeah, bona fide. Yeah,
bona fide.
The bona fide.
Cool, man. Moving on.
Let's talk about this a little bit, just because I was trying to think of this. I didn't know what the title of the movie was, but I remember it's one of those movies you watch like late at night. It was a black and white movie. It's the 1953 movie Stalag 17. And Stalags, I think, were the names of the different POW camps. They had like the concentration camps, and then they had the POW camps. And these were like, this is a little bit more of a conventional situation because they would have like officers and stuff, and they were supposed to like treat them a little bit better,
It was conventional POW.
Conventional, yeah. And this is American war film, tells the story of a group of American airmen confined with 40,000 prisoners in a World War II German prisoner of war camp. And their compound holds 630 sergeants representing many different crew positions and stuff. So they there's a kind of a community that forms within the within the POW camp, and they have this one's a bit more of has more of a comedic kind of take to it, even though there is like serious stuff that happens. The wild thing in this one is they believe that there's somebody who's like an informant, like a spy.
Oh, that someone's feeding the Germans,
because they have all these secret things that go on, like they're planning escapes and all that kind of stuff.
Meetings and whatnot.
And then I think in the movie, like one of them gets found out. They're like, "How did they know about this? We didn't tell them."
Yeah, who's the rat?
Yeah. The cool thing is I think it's William Holden, who's one of those classic actors. He's in there, and at one point in the movie, he gets framed for something, and they think it's him, and they all do this thing where they like beat him up at night.
Yeah.
And so he's all like beaten up, and then the Germans say,
soap
who
party?
beat you? What's that?
They have a soap party.
They have a little soap party for him. Yep. And he's all beat up, and the Germans are like, "Tell us who beat you, and we will take care of it." And he doesn't give anybody up. And then at the very end, they have this really important prisoner that they hide like in the water tower for like 3 days. They're all looking for him around the camp, and they need to get him out because he's got valuable information. And William Holden kind of like blackmails them all and says, "I'm going to be the guy, and I can screw all of you guys. If I ever meet any of you guys in public, let's just pretend we don't know each other."
Yeah.
And so he's the one that gets the guy out, and they eventually find out who the informant is. And they do this cool thing, like while William Holden and the pilot are getting away, they throw the dude out, but they tie like all these cans to like a string on his leg. So like he's making all this noise and it's like clanking around, and he's like yelling in German, but they're like shooting at him. He's like, no, it's me. I'm your guy.
I'm the informant.
They kill him. They kill him.
Well, this sounds cool, man. Honestly, I'm not a big novelty movie fan.
You're not a big old. You not like black and white movies.
I
man?
don't like black and white movies. I don't know.
This is uncultured swine.
I am an uncultured swine, dude. I don't know. It's just they're just boring to me.
Dude, there's some good movies out there, man.
I gotta check them out.
Here's the thing. I kind of felt the same way a little bit. You just got to get me to sit down and watch it. I got to watch White Christmas. You know what I mean? Like, I got to watch these older movies,
Yeah.
And I know Amy's going crazy over there. Classic movies.
It's all the movie snobs that need to watch them.
Oh, man. It's just, you get a lot of like classic movie ideas that like we've overused at this point, but that's where they came from. Like this movie started that idea. That movie started that idea. So yeah. What else you got for me, man?
Well, I know we've talked about this one before. Actually,
I got my next favorite one. I love this one. You talk about some classic movies. It's in color, so you might like it.
It's in color, so you might like it. Wait, oh my God, I for some reason I read Empire of the Sun here, and you want to talk about that one because that's another Christian Bale. Yeah. And for some reason, the movie Tears of the Sun?
Oh, Tears of the Sun with Bruce Willis.
When Bruce Willis popped in my head, and I was like,
Tears
is that
of the Empire of the Sun?
Yeah. That one popped in my head. It was like, was that a POW? No, that's a rescue mission.
Yeah, that's like a rescue, yeah.
Okay, so I was like, tell me about Empire of the Sun. Let me look it up real quick.
Empire of the Sun is great. It's a classic. It's a 1980s movie. It's directed by Steven Spielberg. It's actually written by Tom Stoppard. And for my theater fans, he wrote like Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead. He also wrote Shakespeare in Love, which won Best Picture, a couple years later. But great author, great writer. But a young Christian Bale. He's like, I don't know, he's like 13, 14 years old.
I don't think I'm looking at the right thing. There's a band called Empire of the Sun, and they're very artsy-fartsy looking. And I was like,
totally artsy-fartsy. Yeah, Empire of the Sun, the band. They've got some good...
Wells Fargo presents one of the surest ways to grow your money. A Wells Fargo CD account, where you can earn a 5.00% annual percentage yield on an 11-month term with a minimum opening deposit of $5,000. Visit a Wells Fargo branch or wellsfargo.com/CD rates to open a CD account and start growing your savings with us.
Wells Fargo Bank, N.A., member FDIC.
Hello, saver. Whether you're saving for that trip to the tropics or saving for an emergency, now is the time to take advantage of Wells Fargo's savings options. Wells Fargo offers savings accounts that can help you save towards your goals. So, what are you saving for? Visit a Wells Fargo branch or wellsfargo.com/save to open a savings account today.
Wells Fargo Bank, N.A., member FDIC.
They've got some good
Here
stuff,
we are. Okay, now I'm on the right page. I was like, there's no way this is this movie.
That's one of those really dark, really depressing movies. Because basically he's like a privileged kid living in China right up to the lead up of World War II. And when Japan invades China, he gets separated from his parents. And that it's just about his experience, like going through and trying to survive, and like the cool people that he meets and the underhanded shady people that he meets,
Interesting.
Spoilers, he eventually gets reunited with his family at the end, but it's just like a really, like, he befriends this young Japanese pilot when he's in this like POW camp.
I think I'm looking at a picture of it right now.
Yeah?
Yeah, of that exact description. He's like sitting next to this Chinese kid on a plane.
Yeah, that's the Japanese pilot, and obviously Japan is like the aggressor in this movie, and then at the very end, he when he gets out and they meet up one more time, but then somebody sees him and they think that the Japanese kid is attacking him, and so they shoot the Japanese kid and he dies. And Christian Bale's like so mad at him. He's like, he was my friend. And it's just it's a really sad movie, but it's really good. It's kind of like triumph of the human spirit kind of stuff, which I guess is in line with pretty much everything we're talking about today.
Yeah.
POW, the POW story is like the triumph of the human, or not triumph of the human spirit.
Or it's one or the other. It's either you try to escape or you just accept your fate.
Yeah, or you just go crazy and you turn on everybody.
Yeah. Try to escape or accept your fate. Yeah. Wow, rhyme.
All right, next, man. We can talk about, this is a classic one.
This is a classic
one. A lot of people are familiar with the 1963 movie with Steve McQueen, The Great Escape.
Yeah.
Based on a true story, actually. It's based on Paul Brickhill's 1950 nonfiction book of the same name, first-hand account of a mass escape by the British Commonwealth prisoners of war from German POW camp Stalag Luft 3. Stalag Luft 3 in my research gets mentioned a lot. They must have really
was this a big POW camp?
Big POW camp, and apparently it was like super easy to escape from. No, not super easy, but yeah. Anyway, it's the Nazi German occupied or Nazi German province of Lower Silesia. For those history buffs out there.
Damn. Well, I mean, when you mention The Great Escape, this is one of those movies that like is the first one that come up in your head when you think like POW camp movies. Like this is like the staple of all the movies, and it's one of the classic military movies that was ever made.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure we've talked about this before.
And everybody was in it. Well, in what context did we talk about it?
Good question. I'm not sure.
Ever do an
I feel like we've talked about this before.
Survival. I know we got a survival episode out there.
We do have one coming up. It's hot to shoot.
Yeah. But those, I guess some of these movies could kind of ride the line between survival and POW, because once you escape, you got to survive.
Yes. Survive.
But it's great. They got, Steve McQueen's like a hotshot pilot. They got all these, everybody's in this movie too. It's got like an all-star cast. You know, Donald Pleasance is in it, and
Who?
that's about it. No, because
Charles Bronson.
Yeah, Charles Bronson's in it. It's funny. It's cool seeing like these actors when they're young before they get known for whatever they're known for. It's like, oh, that's Charles Bronson, like Death Wish. That was like his big thing was the Death Wish movies. But they got 3 tunnels they're building at the same time, Tom, Dick, and Harry. And there's close calls. They almost get discovered. And then I think eventually like 76 of them, I think it was, eventually broke out. And only 3 of them made it home.
Oh
like
my God.
almost all of them were either captured and sent back or just rounded up and shot.
Jesus,
Like,
I never knew
crazy,
that. I
dude.
thought they
Yeah.
all made it out.
No, Steve McQueen's character, the one of the like, you know, top scenes in the movies when he gets on this motorcycle and he's on like the border with like Sweden or Switzerland, I think.
Yeah.
And he's jumping over the hills, over the fences, and he jumps over 1, he jumps over 2, and then his tire gets shot out from underneath him and he gets captured again.
You know what? This movie is also like the originator for a lot of escape movies as well. Like as far as POW, like let's talk about a very serious POW movie, Chicken Run.
Wait, what?
Do you ever heard of
Chicken Run, that is a POW movie.
It is a POW
man, why did we
movie.
say it? Why did we mention that before? That's so good,
Dude, yeah.
man.
Did you ever go to Universal Studios when they had like the Chicken Run walkthrough?
No, where
No.
of like the sets and stuff like that.
No, it's like you know, they have like a Van Helsing one right now, and it like turned like it used to be Chicken Run.
Oh, it used to be Chicken Run?
Yeah, so you walk through and like try to escape like from being made into a chicken pot pie.
That's funny.
But
Yeah.
yeah, dude, they do like the tunnel system in Chicken Run too in the beginning where they're trying to get out and everything. And I'm like, they literally took it all from Great Escape.
It really is the Great Escape,
It is.
essentially. Yeah,
It is.
What I love.
I kid.
Oh, Lord and Park. Oh, the for those of you that the little bit of trivia, those were the guys that were hired, I think, originally for the Solo movie, the Star Wars Solo story.
Oh, yeah.
And then they were fired because like they wanted to do things like they wanted to be a little more goofy, have more improv, and like nobody wanted to do that. Like and Kennedy, Kathleen Kennedy hated him, so she fired him and hired what's his butt?
Get out of here.
Yeah.
No one wants
Apollo 13. You guys are going at your radios. I forget his name. Good guy. Happy days. Never mind. But yeah, Chicken Run, totally based off of the Great Escape.
Yeah, add that one to the list. But here, let's talk about what everybody wants to really talk about. Rambo First Blood Part 2.
Heck yeah, we want to talk about this. This is one of those, I feel like there was a period, we got one more that I want to talk about, Uncommon Valor, but there was a period of like in the 70s and 80s, like after Vietnam, when it was very much on the collective consciousness of like, there's POWs, like there were POWs that never came home. Like there's a whole POW MIA organization is about until they all come home.
Yeah.
Because like there are guys that are still unaccounted for, you know?
Absolutely.
And so Rambo First Blood Part 2 was very much in like when he's like, we're gonna go in, you're gonna contact when you rescue these dudes. He's like, do we get to win this time, sir?
We get to win.
That's
this
like
time,
that famous
sir.
line.
Oh my god.
Written by James Cameron. And I think is it John McTiernan who directed this one. So, such a great classic 80s action movie. Like he really buffed out. Sylvester Stallone's always kind of been into the lifting and the roids and the supplements
and the roids.
Yeah, you know. I mean, well, didn't he get caught with like horse tranquil or like horse steroids or something?
I don't know. I didn't know you could take that, but writing that one down, I guess.
George Picos Matos. Oh, who directed, I think, Tombstone, right? Is that Tombstone?
Tombstone, the greatest Western ever made.
Yes.
Yeah, look at that bicep vein. Whoop, bow!
Yeah.
Good for you, Sylvester.
Oh, Leviathan, too. Yeah, man. What a great... And just got so many classic... Like, he's got the lady, the Vietnamese lady. And he gets the little green... the jade Buddha necklace. That's very iconic.
Yeah, this is the movie where he blows up that guy with the explosive arrow tip.
And it's so great because he's just standing there and the guy can't seem to hit him and he slowly draws the thing, like, slowly takes aim and the guy's running, turns around and then he shoots the arrow and the guy blows up.
Oh my
it's so
god,
good.
It's good. This is one of, I mean, I know how they remade the Rambos, you know. Have you seen the remake of the Rambo where they're back in the jungle again? And like Rambo's like a fish. Have you, the new one?
Wait, you're
it came out like it's like the newer one.
Yeah, it's called like John Rambo or something like that.
Yeah, I mean not the one that like came out. There was one that came out recently, right?
Where he's in Burma.
Yeah,
and he's
in
on
like
the 50 cal. Yeah, that one was brutal. That one was actually kind of a return to form. You know?
I know that one was brutal, man. And he has to he has to escort the missionaries.
Yeah, there's like missionaries that get captured. And they get that brutal, like, you know, Burmese dude. Yeah, that's like captured, and he goes and he just starts slaying dudes.
Yeah, that one is away.
He sets the bomb up and he runs away from the bomb, and it kills the.
Or
dudes.
he gets on the 50 and he like turns on them and he just like blows. That's what it should look like when you're blasting dudes with the 50 cal. They get in the body parts flying.
Yeah.
I like that movie because that's how I think. If you're gonna do an action movie like that, it has to be in this time. You got to go hard in the paint.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why, I mean, the last one, it was better than the last one.
Yeah. Plus, I think Rambo's a little. Sylvester Stallone's older.
Dude, he's got to be in his 70s.
He must be in his 70s in this. Yeah. I mean, he's still doing what's that chain of movie? The Expendables. The Expendables. He's still doing that.
They're coming out with another one, aren't they?
I know. He must be. How old is Sylvester Stallone? First of all, let's make a game.
Let's play a little game.
Sylvester. I think he's 77. I think
77.
He's 77.
I'm gonna say 74.
You think he's 74?
Yeah, I'm gonna say 70. I don't think he's that old. Sylvester Stallone. He is. Oh, it doesn't say. It says what's 1946. Quickly, somebody out there with a calculator.
Let's go 60. So in 1946. So 60 would 20, put him at
22,
2006
minus
18.
19,
he's 78.
18. Oh my gosh!
He's 78 years old.
What?
Is my math wrong?
Wait, 1976 or 1946? 76. 76. You were right. Did you say 76?
I said 77.
Oh, you said 77. Well, you were
closer. But he's 78 years old.
Oh, he's 78.
I think.
Well, I did mine.
Someone, you know, I can't math too good.
Listen, let's not quibble over the details. He's super old.
He's very old, and he's still doing
But he
it.
looks great.
He looks great for his age. I want to know his secret. What's your secret?
Steroids.
Yeah, right.
Favorite moments apart in that film for me, there was the exploding guy with the exploding arrow trick. And then when he is in the POW camp and he finds out that he's been betrayed.
He's 76.
He's 76. Okay.
I said 77.
And he grabs the microphone. He says, "I'm coming to get you." And then he breaks out. He starts, killing people and stuff like that. He busts out of there. Also, the end when it's a helicopter chase.
Yeah, through the river system,
through the ravine system, and then he thinks he's got him. His Sylvester Stallone's helicopter's down, and the guy's like creeping in, and then he comes up with the bazooka with the law, and he fires at him, and he blows him up. So
that's a classic.
Oh, and of course the iconic one arm M60. Yeah, when he's got the ammo belt wrapped around his arm, he's like, oh.
Which honestly, if you wrap it around your arm, you're gonna induce a malfunction. Like that's one of those novelty. Oh, there's a thing. You know what I watched the other day that I was like, could be possibly a cool idea for this podcast is just debunking like Hollywood myths.
Hollywood myths about.
Yeah, I mean, they have a show like that, but what was the show? Oh, this is gonna bother me so bad because I watched it the other day and I was like, that is so false. Like, I was watching Narcos and you could definitely tell that these are airsoft guns because you could see like they did a shot from the ground up, like a bottom up shot, and you could see the winding wheel on the bottom of the magazine.
Oh, no.
And I was like, that's an airsoft gun.
Oh, that sucks.
Oh yeah, no, he shot a bazooka like literally inside of a building.
Yeah,
like
there's no backblast.
Yeah, there was zero backblast, and I was like, you would literally kill everybody in there.
Yep. No backblast area. Cool.
Yeah, but yeah, you would totally if you wrapped a belt around your forearm. Yeah, you would induce a malfunction
because it's pulling on the ammo.
Yeah,
right?
I can't tell you how many times like my 240 bag would get like stuck on a round, like the little piece of 550 cord that was wrapped around the zipper. If it hung up on a round and it like started to tense out the belt, yeah, it would cause the gun to jam. So false.
Can I talk about this real quick? I know you
can do anything you want.
It is my podcast, but it's also your podcast, Cameron. Uncommon Valor, 1983, starring Gene Hackman, Patrick Swayze, Fred Ward, Randall Tex Cobb,
Swayze,
Tim Thomerson, and Reb Brown. This is the only good movie that Reb Brown ever did. But and those of you who know who Reb Brown is, he's the star of Space Mutiny, which is the subject of a very hilarious episode of History Science Theater 3000. Basically, I mean, it's such a great story. It's again in that vein of like, I wish we could go back and rescue our dudes, you know? But Gene Hackman is an officer in the Army, and his son, and I think it might have been Special Forces, but it gets left behind on a mission. Okay. And he goes around and he re-recruits all of his old teammates. And it's gotta be
got a job for you.
Guy Blaster, which is Reb Brown. Yeah, exactly. And and he retrains them. So they make a mock-up of the camp where his son is believed to be held. And then they finally actually execute and they go to Vietnam. And it's like a tragic thing because they get a bunch of dudes out. They rescue a bunch of dudes, but his son was the ones that died.
This movie looks awesome.
Stuff. It's super cool.
This movie looks awesome.
Randall
you
Cobb,
son of a bitch.
Yeah.
I'm in.
Yep, it's super cool. Patrick Swayze's in it, and it's a lot.
I have
of the
to check
dudes,
this one out.
It's like you should. I think you'd appreciate it. It's not only is it a classic '80s movie, it's got that '80s action feel to it, like an episode of A-Team. But it
looks
really
like a reproduction of A-Team. Look, I mean, if you can plug in this video, or this picture that I'm looking at, Amy, on YouTube, this would be legendary. They're all sitting in these like rice paddy with this dude's got looks like a BAR slung over his shoulders, and everybody's just like got headbands on and face paint. That's awesome.
Yeah, man.
Definitely plug that in.
It's really it's cool. It's kind of almost like a redemptive thing because a lot of the dudes have reasons for wanting to go back. You know, like they feel like they failed and they want to redeem themselves and stuff.
I just like war.
Yeah.
Or what are you, some kind of war junkie?
Yeah.
Well, that's why I have to check that one out. That one actually appeals to me the most out of all these ones. That I'm gonna check that one out.
Nice, man.
Might do it on my plane ride. I got a long plane ride coming in.
You got something else, man? I got one more.
You got one more? Go shoot it, man.
One more, just because. Did you ever watch The Outer Limits? There was an older Outer Limits show, maybe 60s, 70s or something like that, 50s, 60s, and then they restarted up. It was an anthology series in like the 90s, and there were some really classic episodes.
Is this kind of like a Twilight Zone sort of thing?
It's like a sci-fi version of the Twilight Zone with basically emphasizing more sci-fi.
Okay, I was gonna say
all that kind of stuff.
Twilight Zone was like sci-fi.
Yeah, that Twilight Zone I think maybe started the whole genre.
The Outer
and then this is
Limits.
another anthology episode where every episode's different. There's one called "The Quality of Mercy," and it stars Robert Patrick he was the T-1000 from Terminator 2. Robert Patrick. He was also the super racist father of Peacemaker in the Peacemaker series. Super ultra white supremacist evil supervillain.
An Aryan brother villain?
Yeah, totally. He's called the White Dragon. It's crazy.
My God.
Yeah. Have you watched that?
Which is kind of, if you call yourself the White Dragon, that's pretty Asian like centric. So like you kind of.
Well,
it's kind of ironic.
But I mean, it's with the KKK, they got the dragon. The Grand Dragon is the name of like a big
the wizard.
leader.
It's your wizard, Grandmaster Wizard.
Is it the wizard or dragon?
It's the wizard.
Gosh, I'm really not up on my white supremacist KKK lore and mythology.
Oh, brother, you better read up.
We just lost
friend.
our whole KKK white supremacist audience. Oh man,
oh my God,
so disappointed. Anyway, The Quality of Mercy episode in 1995. Robert Patrick plays a captured pilot, but it's a space war. So they're fighting against these alien space war and stuff like that. And he gets put in a cell with another girl. I forget what her character's name is, but Bree Tristan is her character's name. But she played Star Trek Deep Space Nine when the Trill. What's her name? The Trill. Yeah. DS9. It's you guys are all yelling at me. I know. I'm sorry. But look her up real quick. She was really cool. She only played Jadzia Dax. She was Ezri Dax, right? But I don't see her right here. Anyway, not going to bother with it. She's
like
in there
thinking
too.
Out loud right
I'm just
now.
thinking out loud. This is basically a podcast about my thought process. So they're in this cell together, and what they do is they start experimenting on her, and they start like changing her like into like an alien and stuff. And so like there's like a race against the clock kind of thing, and he's trying to find a way out. And then in one scene, he like sees down like in a room where they're like changing her and they're like changing, like she looks kind of like an alien now. And so at the very end, she's like, they throw her in the cell, and she looks almost completely like one of them, She's like, there's no way we're going to get out of here. They're doing all these experiments to me. And she's like, don't worry. Listen, I have something to tell you. It's like, nobody knows about this, but we have a secret base on the far side of this moon. And there's going to be a counterattack on the aliens, and we're going to win this war. And she's like, thank you for telling me. And he's like, what do you mean? And then she gets up and they open the cell and she starts to leave. She's like, you don't understand. They haven't been changing me. They've been changing me back. And she was like a spy the whole time. And he's like, no. And he just gave up the entire fleet and like doomed his entire race and stuff like. And that's where the
sort of POW.
Yeah, well, they're POWs in an alien war. And I just kind of wanted to get there. You know, we can also talk about aliens for a little bit because there's a POW. No.
Oh my goodness! I was gonna be like, hey man, we got a fan question. We got a game and a fan question to talk about.
Do you have a question there? I don't see a question. I got a game there though. If you want.
Oh, you want? Yeah, let's just
jump into the game.
I mean, we answered all the questions.
We did answer all
last episode.
That's right.
Okay, let's dive right into the game.
All right, here's the game, man. It's called Geneva Suggestions.
Yes.
So we know that the Geneva Conventions are kind of rules for warfare.
Rules of war.
Yeah, and they have rules for how you are supposed to treat, POWs and stuff like that. And you read some of them, and they're pretty hilarious because you're like, oh, nobody follows these rules at all, ever.
Hence, Geneva Suggestions.
Yeah, the Geneva Suggestions, we like to say. War crimes and this and that. But I looked at a couple of them, and so I'm gonna give you a couple of rules, and you tell me whether this is an actual rule, like a real rule, or a fake rule.
Okay.
Okay.
Very cool.
So
I am ready.
We got the first one there. Number 1 is prisoners of war must at all times be humanely treated. Any unlawful act or omission by the detaining power causing death or seriously endangering the health of a prisoner of war in its custody is prohibited and will be regarded as a serious breach of present convention.
I'm pretty sure the first sentence in there is the actual line of the Geneva Convention regarding POW. So I'm going to say that is real, but I don't know about the rest of it. But I know for a fact the first line is correct.
Okay.
So I'm just going to go with that's real.
That is a real convention.
Okay,
So just copy and pasted that one. That's, I think, Article 13 of that one. So
perfect.
Yeah. Good one. Good first one. So second one, this is just a portion of one. So captors of prisoners of war are entitled in all circumstances to respect their customs and their rules. The captors of POWs are entitled in all circumstances to respect the customs and rules of their captors. Sorry, I didn't finish that. I didn't say that right.
Wait, so captors of POWs are entitled in all circumstances to respect their customs and the rules. So, like, say, like, if I'm being captured by, like, Muslims, I have to participate in prayer.
Yeah, that would be the gist of that rule.
Nah, dude, that's not real.
You don't think that's real?
I don't think that's real. Every POW movie I've ever watched, they don't have to do shit for the people.
Well, they did their research because that is a fake one.
Nice.
I actually just changed the wording. It's the POWs are entitled to be respected and their customs and their customs. Religions are supposed to be respected. By
the captor, not the other way around.
Not the verse. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No, I knew that.
Good one. You're a 2 for 2, man. Number 3. The power detaining prisoners of war shall be bound to provide free of charge for their maintenance and for their medical attention required by the state of their health. So they have to require.
They have to give medical attention. Required to give medical.
The power detaining the prisoners of war shall be bound to provide free of charge for their maintenance and for their medical attention as required by their state of their health.
I'm gonna go ahead. Oh, that's a toughie. That is a toughie one. I'm gonna go ahead and say that's a real thing, but it's very minimally enforced.
Say it's real?
Like, give them the minimum care.
Okay.
I'm gonna say it's real, though.
You're correct. It is a real word, and is almost. I don't know any situation.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I'm like Germany.
Whoever bothered providing for their medical care?
Yeah, and I'm thinking of like jail.
Like a ball of rice every 6 months.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, that's why it's like minimum, just to keep them alive. It's technically not like to keep them healthy and fat.
Yeah, exactly.
But, yeah.
And provide like medical attention. Like if I got an allergy or like I have some sort of like skin rash, like they're not going to treat that. What do they care?
They're like, that's it's life, limb, or eye says to them. Like if you're going to die, they're like, oops.
Yeah. Oh, the one less capital's dog.
One less ball of rice to give.
All right. Number 4, real or fake. All prisoners of war shall be treated alike by the detaining power without any adverse distinction based on race, nationality, religious belief, or political opinions, or any other distinction founded on a similar criteria.
Can you repeat that, just the beginning part of it? So they can't be, you can't basically treat someone differently based off how their religion.
It's kind of a lot of what you hear, like, like hiring practices for jobs today.
Yeah.
It says all prisoners of war shall be treated alike by the detaining power without any adverse distinction based on race, nationality, religious belief, or political opinions, or any other distinction founded on a similar criteria.
I'm going to say that one's fake. Just because I know rank structure is still.
You mean treating them differently
based off rank and
not?
officer enlisted.
Oh, okay. All right.
So I think that one is fake.
Okay.
Because I definitely think there is going to be some distinction between them.
Regardless of it being a real.
It's real?
The Geneva Convention says you can't discriminate. No discrimination. Because the Geneva said so.
Geneva says so.
No, but it's a real thing.
Geneva Convention. The most inclusive.
Yeah, the most inclusive
and diverse.
Yeah, and diverse and equitable organization.
Equitable organization in warfare.
So, yeah, you didn't get that right, but it's a real rule, which I'm sure nobody follows any of these rules. Even the fake ones, they don't follow.
Yeah.
All right. You're doing pretty good. You got one more, number 5.
One more, okay.
Number 4. Real or fake?
Real fake.
Really fake. Women shall be treated with greater regard than men in regard to their sex and shall in all cases benefit by this treatment as favorable over and above such treatment granted to men.
That's worded very officially.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, is Israel able to...
Was I able to write that officially?
Yeah, was you able to write that officially? I don't know. I'm going to say women have to be treated differently.
With greater regard.
In
regards to their sex and shall in all cases benefit by this treatment as favorable over and above such treatment granted to men.
That's pretty official sounding. So I'm going to say that's real.
That is totally fake.
That's totally fake?
The real rule says that they needed to be treated the same and have no difference in regard to their sex.
Okay, I would say.
So they just be treated the same as men. And I'm sure that never happens either.
Yeah,
I'm sure they're certainly not treated better unless they turn traitor and then they start sleeping with the boss man.
The boss man, just to get their way, just to get a promotion.
Just get out of Stockholm syndrome.
Well, damn, dude. Man. Yeah, you got me good on that one. Good for you. You're way smarter than I thought.
I worked really hard to try to word them officially.
Yeah.
Because you could kind of tell the way that the official law and wording is very specific,
That's funny, man.
So. Cool, man.
Good. Awesome. That was a fun one.
Good job, man.
And I hope the listeners got a little bit of education on the rules of prisoners of war. So if you ever are, in possession of a prisoner of war, make sure you follow these.
Treat them kindly. Don't discriminate.
Don't discriminate against
them. Don't treat those women any differently. All right?
No. Yeah, everyone's the same. Everyone is the same.
We are all the same underneath our POW rags.
We're all red inside.
Folks, that's it, folks.
That is
for joining us. New episode coming out next week, and we'll see you on the next one.
Absolutely. Cue music.
Wells Fargo presents one of the surest ways to grow your money. A Wells Fargo CD account, where you can earn a 5.00% annual percentage yield on an 11-month term with a minimum opening deposit of $5,000. Visit a Wells Fargo branch or wellsfargo.com/CD rates to open a CD account and start growing your savings with us.
Wells Fargo Bank, N.A., member FDIC.